From the banks of the Mississippi to the peaks of the Smokies, this is the home field of champions.
Andre Callaway to Stanley Morgan.
And Goff holds it down. Nobody can catch him. Reggie White penetrated.
Touchdown, Heath Dillon. James Stewart.
Standing on the naked handoff.
Peerless Price.
Travis Henry scores for Tennessee.
More than 75 years of broadcast excellence. We are the Vol Network. We're Big Orange fans. Get ready for game day. Your guy, the voice of the Vols, Mike Keith. Delivered by Uber Eats.
Welcome in. Glad to have you with us for the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. You can text us your questions at 865-657-1278. And remember, if we're not able to get to them on this particular Vol Network programming, certainly Brent Hubbs and Jason Swain and Ramon Foster will grab some great questions that you provide on the text line Saturday at 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central on Big Orange Countdown. So fire away. Hopefully we get as many as we can, but I can tell you it is a jam-packed show, so we'll have to go fast, and we will attempt to do that. Who handles those questions? Andy Brock. Andy Brock. There he is.
That's right.
Oh, he's got the Firehouse subs already out.
We got a full table today.
Okay, we got to talk about that in a second, but first I got to introduce Sarah Detweiler, host of the Everything Orange podcast. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Mike.
Who's on the Everything Orange podcast tomorrow?
Wide receiver Braylon Staley.
Oh, I bet that's good.
Oh, yes.
He's a really neat guy.
He is. I mean,
And a player. Wow.
Really good
great
player.
But you just can't help but smile when you're around him. He is the happiest person I think I've ever met. Genuinely.
He smiles a lot.
He all the time.
The happiest person she's ever met.
Wow.
You know what would really make him happy? A Firehouse sub. That would, especially because of what we've got here. We're going to jump right into this because this is a big deal. We're going to be doing the hot takes right here off the top.
Ooh.
Time for the Firehouse Subs hot take. Firehouse, enjoy hot subs all across Big Orange Country. This season, when the Vols convert on fourth down on offense or get a fourth down stop on defense, home or away, you get a free medium sub with the purchase of any medium sub Sunday through Tuesday after the game at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants. See offer details in the app. Now, here's what's important about this. The good folks at Firehouse Subs have provided us with the French dip sub. And Andy Brock is already at it, I can see.
I've got it.
Yes.
I haven't dipped
for
it
a
yet,
limited
though.
time only. It's piled high with premium roast beef, caramelized onions, and melty provolone on a freshly toasted garlic butter roll. It's served with warm, savory au jus for dipping. So you get the sauce. Order the French dip sub in the Firehouse Subs app or get it delivered by Uber Eats today, only at Firehouse Subs. Well, in order to take a bite, Sarah Detweiler, Andy Brock must give us a hot take that is deemed acceptable. Who would like to go first?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, you
I'm
got
ready to
it,
take a
Andy.
bite.
Go.
I'm going.
Okay.
In the spirit of the fourth down conversion thing here with Firehouse Subs and Tennessee being at Florida, you think back 10 years ago when Florida had a crucial fourth down conversion in that really close match that Tennessee lost. I think Tennessee is going to convert a major fourth down of their own late in the game on Saturday.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay. That's a good. Well, you know, his hot take about Nate Ahmet winning
Yeah.
Freshman of the Week 5 times, looking pretty good right now. Andy Brock called that on the show last week.
Yep.
He's already won it 2 times.
40%.
40% along the way. Okay. Sarah Detweiler of the Everything Orange podcast, which tomorrow features Braylon Staley. What is your hot take? You get a bite, Andy. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was waiting.
You get the reward.
All right.
back.
Are you going to use the au jus? Are you an
Oh,
au jus guy?
yeah, I'm dipping it right
Oh,
now.
for
Okay,
sure.
baby.
For
Here we
sure.
go.
All right. Let's
Amazing.
see. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right. Good. All right. Sarah Detweiler.
On the topic of Braylon Staley, I think he's going to put up 2 more 100-plus receiving yard games.
Do you really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, he's hot.
He is. And he has 3 more opportunities, and I think he could get it done.
Well, and the key about that, too, is, I mean, the Florida game is obviously a big game. The Vanderbilt game is going to be a matchup that will be one that will be, you know, hard fought. And so he's going to play a lot. And you would
Yes.
figure he would play against a quality opponent in the bowl game. So, yeah, I mean, that may well happen. I mean, he could get to 80 catches.
He could, yes. And he's already top 5 in the SEC right now with receiving yards. So, I don't know. He can make a couple jumps, too, and get up into the top 3.
You can have a bite of that
Thank
Firehouse
you,
Subs.
Mike.
Well done,
Again,
Sarah.
Thank you.
the French dip sub back for a limited time only at Firehouse Subs. You can order it through the app. We appreciate them bringing those by. I don't think there are any left, unfortunately, for me.
Sorry.
Oh,
That's
no.
okay.
No hot take, Mike.
No hot take. No. Okay, well, maybe there's a hot take off of one of the questions on the text line at 865-567-1278. Again, also want to mention, speaking of food, this segment of the Mike Keith Show is brought to you by the official grocery store of the Vols, and that is Food City. Get some good food there. All right, Andy, let's go.
Yep, with 2 games left in the regular season, both teams in Tennessee, Florida, different seasons. Florida, they're looking for a coach. They have a losing record. And then Vanderbilt, at the end of the season, they could be in the playoffs. How do you approach these last 2 games, Mike?
I think it's easy. I mean, for Tennessee, you want to go beat Florida, period. You don't care whether they're 3-7, 7-3, 10-0, 0-10. You haven't won in the swamp since 2003. Ask any Tennessee fan, and they will tell you happily that they want to go beat Florida. And then the Vanderbilt game, if Vanderbilt beats Kentucky this week, which is no gimme, if they do, it'll be the biggest game in Vanderbilt football history. Tennessee will be ready for that. All right, let's try to sneak in one more.
This is a fun one. Chase and Lindsay from Alexandria, Kentucky.
Wow.
They want to know, out of you, Mike, would you be willing to meet them on their wedding day? They're getting married at Neyland Stadium in April. So you don't have to walk too far.
So they're getting married at Neyland Stadium?
That is what they have said.
And this is official? Like that's been...
Unless they're trying to prank you. I don't know.
Happily. Will there be cake?
I would assume so. It's a wedding.
I mean, if there's
Right.
cake.
Yeah. And surely it's a
I have
Tennessee-themed
performed
cake.
a wedding before.
Really?
I have.
You're ordained?
I am ordained, but not officially. I don't think that's legal in Tennessee yet. There's some states where you can't. But yeah, I have performed a wedding
Wow.
before.
Were
It was
you
a lot
nervous?
of pressure. It was in
I bet.
Montana.
Wait, more pressure than calling a game?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, this is life. I mean, it's for real. I mean, not bigger than the Alabama game.
No.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it was a lot. Not bigger than the Florida game.
No.
Right.
But I mean, it was. I mean, relatively speaking, it was a lot. Well, it was a family thing, so yeah, it was a lot of.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but I got to go to Montana.
Oh, pretty cool.
To
It's
win.
beautiful there.
Love Montana.
All right, more of the Mike Keith Show delivered by Uber Eats coming up. While these guys eat, I'll be working. Stay with us. Nice.
The Mike Keith Show, sponsored by
Pilot, official travel stop of the Vols. See you out here. By Firehouse Subs, home of the hottest subs in Big Orange Country. RJV Kubota, with 2 convenient locations in Knoxville and Nashville. By Hound Dogs, your one-stop shop for all things Big Orange. And by Farm Bureau Insurance. Our agents are there when you need them. Farm Bureau is Tennessee's insurance company and the official insurance of the Vols.
In this town, we don't just root for the team. We are the team. We rise before the sun, stay long after the lights go out. We are Big Orange Country. And with this team stands another, UT Medical Center. We heal the hurt, fuel the comeback, keep Vol Nation stronger, tougher, together, with care that never lets up. UT Medical Center, official healthcare provider of the Vols, and all of Vol Nation.
This season, when the Vols go for it, you can too. It's called 4th Downs for Firehouse Subs. If Tennessee converts on 4th down, you unlock an offer for a free medium sub with the purchase of any medium sub. It's good Sunday through Tuesday after the game in the Firehouse Subs app. So get fired up on 4th down and enjoy hot subs in Big Orange Country at participating Tennessee Firehouse Subs restaurants. See offer details in the app. Like the Diamond Vols, Fox Moving and Storage is moving at a championship level. Whether it's local or long distance, large or small, give one of Tennessee's premier moving companies a call. With offices in Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga, and the Tri-Cities, Fox Moving and Storage has you covered across Big Orange Country with experienced, trained professional movers for your home, office, or condo. Get your move on with Fox Moving and Storage, a proud supporter of Tennessee baseball.
Coach Josh Heupel on decision making.
With our offensive play calling, we have to make decisions quickly. But there's one decision I don't have to make: my bank. Instead of choosing between big bank solutions and small bank spirit, I get the best of both with First Horizon.
Big bank muscle, small bank hustle.
For every play in life, there's a bank that has your back. That's First Horizon. Proudly serving Tennesseans for over 160 years.
Vols coaches, insiders, and experts breaking down the weekend action. We are the Vol Network.
Optimus volunteers contribute time and money to programs that inspire and bring out the best in kids. Optimus give leadership, guidance, and hands-on involvement to activities that shape young people's lives. Optimus help form positive attitudes in kids. And Optimus create opportunities for youth as they develop into adulthood and become role models for future generations. Optimists are doing all of these things right here, right now in our community. If that sounds like the kind of positive action you'd like to take part in, consider joining the local Optimists. You'll have an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of kids right here. You'll be helping young people develop positive attitudes and approaches to life that will enable them to excel in school and in our community. Volunteer. All it takes is an hour or two of your time.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Many Americans have missed regular dental care in the past few years. It's important to see a dentist twice a year to identify any problems early. Taking care of your oral health helps overall health. Brushing at least twice a day with fluoride toothpaste and flossing daily can help prevent oral health problems.
Delivered by Uber Eats. Mike Keith continues the countdown to Vols action.
To the right, 4th and 1. Fife under heat, firing. Pass batted down at the line of scrimmage by David Hobbs. And the ball will go over on downs.
This segment of the Mike Keith Show is brought to you by UT Medical Center, official healthcare provider of the Vols and the Lady Vols. This is David Hobbs. 9 tackles in the win over New Mexico State last Saturday. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Now, in high school, did you lead the team in tackles many games?
Yeah, most games, yeah. High school was fun, you know. Got to roam around and freelance, you know how it is. But, you know, it felt coming in, you know, doing the G's way, getting that many tackles feels a lot better.
What does Rodney Garner say after you make 9 tackles? Does he compliment you in any way?
I mean, yeah, of course. He would say, I love the way you play hard this game, stuff like that. But then, you know, Coach G's going to be the same Coach G every day. You know, we go watch film, we go break down what I did wrong this play, you know, tell me how I should have done it better. For everybody, you know, he's the same, just correcting it when there needs to be correction.
You had 5 straight plays where you were either in on the tackle or made the tackle late in the second quarter. You looked like you might have needed to come out of the game as you got ready to start the 6th play. Were you pretty winded after all that activity?
Yeah, that drive right there. There was 2 long drives that game I remember, but that was the first one right there. I didn't even really realize that I was making all those tackles play by play like that. Then I got to the sideline. One of my teammates, Herb, came up to me, was like, "Yo, you just made 4 tackles in a row." I'm like, yeah, I couldn't even say anything. I was definitely gassed after that little series of plays right there.
All right, talking about hits, from a defender's point of view, tell me what you thought of the Jaden Perlotti hit.
From the point of view of me in the game, I line up in a 5, so I'm on the end. I come off, and I notice the Kubrick gets it, just takes off straight. So I go to turn to go try to make the play. As I'm turning, Lottie comes in, boom, runs right through the quarterback, hits me. I'm like, oh. I heard the pop. I was like, oh. I felt it. Yeah. That was a good one.
Did you kind of feel bad for the quarterback at that point?
I mean, nah, he was trying to run the ball. You can't be running the ball.
But
like
that
that.
would. I mean, he's a tough guy, Logan Fife, and it's kind of like, man, that was wow. He had to take himself out right there.
Yeah. I watched the TV copy from the bed Sunday night, and I seen him run to the sideline. And I was like, yeah, he's gonna feel that one for a couple of days.
When dudes are big hitters, like Jaden Perlotte obviously is, what is it about them that allows them to be a bigger than average hitter?
It's just his personality, like off the field, like the way he plays on the field. That's his personality off the field. Just an energetic little kid, just always going 100%. So whatever Lottie is on the field, that's how he is. Coming in here Monday morning, coming in here Tuesday evening is just the same Lottie.
Share with us who are some of the other guys on the team, on the defense, that the defensive players like to watch hit people. That when tape's on, you're going, okay, I got to see what he did.
Some people with the favorite hits. Tyree West has a couple hard ones, a couple good ones. Tyree Williamsby had a recent one in Oklahoma when he hit the quarterback right there. Who else usually has a couple? AC. All the linebackers really. They go get a couple licks in every game. Sometimes the DBs come down and get some good hits too. So I mean, it's just everybody plays with their hats on fire. There's going to be hits like that every game.
You were a 5-star coming out of high school. What's that like when people refer to you as 5-star David Hobbs?
Yeah, it's cool. I remember my little sister. She was 4-star, all that, like way before like I had any offers. So I'm like, I always thought that was so cool for her. And then I got it. And then that one day when I got my 5th star, I went up there. I was like, yeah, Ella, now I got that 5th star. So that was the best part about it, really, for me.
Does it put more pressure on you when you arrive at Tennessee that you are a 5-star?
For me, I really came in thinking like with the mindset, I'm a young guy, so I got to come out and just prove myself like that. Just from being new here, because new team, you're a new guy in a sense, just getting here. So that was my whole mentality on it, was just coming every day and work. Because my first year, I'm at the bottom of the depth chart. I'm just coming in, so I gotta work my way, watching the older guys see what they do, So I came in with a learning mindset.
Let's go back to high school for just a minute. So you got these freaky stats in high school. You've got the defensive stats, which we would expect. You're the 5-star. But on offense, you're tight end. Mm-hmm. They direct snapped it to you some, and so you had like 5 rushing touchdowns.
Train package, yeah.
Yeah, the train package.
Train.
Nice.
Yeah.
Coming down the tracks. I like it. How much did you weigh then?
My senior year is when the year I started getting a little big because the OVs that summer, I gained all that weight. So I was probably like 270 most of that year.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, I was like 270.
That would be the freight train package.
Yeah.
But you were 215 at some point.
Oh, yeah. I went from 185 to 215 to 245 to 270.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you still played – did you play basketball at 270?
Yeah, my senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
You averaged 15 points a game in basketball, won a state championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was our junior year team right there. Yeah, that was a fun year.
I mean, you were freakish athletically.
Yeah.
So you're making these plays now. You're running down the field, making tackles. You're doing this. You're doing that. I mean, you weigh more than 270 now, right?
Yeah. I weigh a good, I think I played last game at like a good 288, 289 last game. So, yeah, I definitely won that game.
But you can still run.
Yeah.
You've still kept all of your athleticism. That's remarkable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who has the athleticism in the family? Where did you get it?
That's the big argument. Mom always says it's her from her flag football days back in college. But, my dad was a hooper too, so he's always been athletic. So I stay out the argument, but I let them two argue about that.
What was the overriding reason you picked Tennessee?
When I would come up here, it would just feel a little bit different. Then I remember I was on my Georgia OV when Tennessee played them. So that's when Hendon was here. And Tennessee had lost that game. And I was I felt like like mad. I was like, and that's the moment I really.
You knew.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, yeah. Tennessee was my favorite school at that time.
As you've gotten here and been through 3 years, what is the thing that you like the most about Tennessee that you didn't even think about during the recruiting process?
I really like our team, like camaraderie here, like the D-line room, like for our evening meetings, like for even the morning meetings, like I enjoy coming to meetings. I'm gonna be around all my guys, be around coaches. He always makes it a good environment in there too. So whenever I'm having a bad day, I got night meetings tonight. I'll be good.
It feels like you're hitting your stride now in the season. Did it take you a while to get confidence back in the foot after missing the first 5 games and having to work your way in?
I wouldn't necessarily say like confidence in my foot. I think it was mainly like getting my body back going, like playing all those snaps, just the soreness, like that side of things. Like I wouldn't really say anything hurt. It's just getting my body used to those reps and the physical reps again.
What'd you have, 39 snaps against New Mexico State?
Yeah.
So you got Florida this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You've been there once before.
Yep.
What do you remember about going down there?
Yeah. I remember freshman year. It wasn't the outcome we wanted, but all I remember was the nighttime at the swamp. Like it was a crazy environment that game. And Florida was always a team I grew up watching. It was always Florida football, UNC basketball. So just seeing that, the swamp, it was a cool environment, but
So how about 9 more tackles? Could you do that?
Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah,
maybe some sacks.
Get a couple sacks. Yeah, make a couple plays here and there. Yeah,
maybe intercept a pass.
Yeah,
man, it's good to see you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Congratulations! This guy in the 5 games back has been rocking and rolling. This is David Hobbs, number 5, not number 53, which he said was a trash number, right? Is that what you said?
Something like that.
Something like that. You do look good in the single digits.
Appreciate it.
You look
Appreciate
nice.
it.
Number 5, David Hobbs, with us on the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. We're back with more right after this.
Get game day ready at Hound Dogs, your one-stop shop for all things Big Orange. Locally owned and operated, Hound Dogs has everything Vol fans need, all in one place. Check out the newest polos and pullovers from Hound Dogs' private label, plus their latest in boutique ladies apparel. And don't forget about all the gear from Columbia. If it's orange and white, it's at Hound Dogs. Gear up at Hound Dogs, located on Kingston Pike in West Knoxville, your one-stop shop for all things Big Orange.
It's game day, Vol fans, and you don't want to miss a single play. Uber Eats brings your favorite food right to your door. Wings, pizza, burgers, whatever you're craving, it's just a tap away. Download the Uber Eats app and use code GOBIGORANGE to get $15 off all orders. Uber Eats, proud sponsor of the Vols. Let's eat.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit RJV Kubota locally in Knoxville or Nashville. RJV Kubota, a proud supporter of the Vols.
Whether you're cheering on the Vols at Neyland Stadium, tailgating on campus, or hosting a watch party, you need a beer that will cool you down. Choose Coors Light for a beer as cold as the Rockies. It's cold lagered for a lighter, fresher taste, cold filtered for a brighter appearance, and cold packaged for peak freshness. This fall, reach for the beer that supports the Big Orange. Choose chill, mountain cold refreshment. Coors Light, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers. Go Vol! Celebrate responsibly. 21 meets 21.
Your Vols Sports Weekend starts here with Mike Keith and Insider Access. We are the Vol Network.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
and Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. This is Joe Walsh. One thing I do when I'm not playing rock and roll is get on the air as an amateur radio operator. Also called ham radio, is a communication service provided by ordinary people just like you and me. Find out more about amateur radio at arrl.org/whatishamradio. See you on the air.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Don't let a buzz ruin it.
A complete preview of this weekend's action. Mike Keith continues. Delivered by Uber Eats.
Welcome back to the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. This segment of the program is brought to you by Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes of Tennessee, helping families across the state find their dream home. And this is Dane Bradshaw, basketball captain, 2006, 2007.
That's right. Yes, sir.
I think so. Memphis, Tennessee. Started off as a point guard, changed coaches, becomes a forward. How do you do that? How does that work?
Well,
from a hoop standpoint.
Yeah, when you're not playing much and the coach asks you to play a different position, that's probably not the right time to say, no, coach, I'm good. I really see myself somewhere else. So that's part of it too, was just wanting to play more. Yeah, I mean, when Bruce Pearl came in my junior year, yes, I was recruited as a point guard. But really, I guarded other teams' power forward, so I think on the defensive end, that's where it probably looked the most odd, and we made it work with our scrappiness and double teams. But really, Bruce Pearl was doing a lot of things with the small ball stuff, and we only had one big 4-round one. And so in a lot of ways, we had C.J. Watson, our starting point guard, and then myself. So having two point guards on the court at the same time became a good advantage for us. And I was not the quickest guy on the court, for those that can remember. It was 20 years ago. But Bruce used to say this. I thought it was really well put. Like, hey, Bradshaw's not very quick. But when you move him to the 4, now he's quick for his position.
Sure.
And so, yeah, we gave up some things on the defensive end, but they had to come guard us on the other end as well.
What's your best memory from your time as a player?
Wow. Best memory. If I had to name one, I think it'd have to be when we had the win at Florida. That was down in Gainesville. Florida would eventually become the national champions, but it was so much more than just winning at Florida, which of course should be just enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that just winning at Florida.
You're here for the right week.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it wasn't just winning at Florida. It was winning at Florida, that was sweeping Florida for that year, that was wrapping up and clinching a share of the SEC East title. And less than 12 months ago, we were a 14-17 team, bottom of the SEC.
Right.
Everybody on our roster, with the exception of one or two guys, was feeling like a bust, and that was just overhyped and a bad recruit. Tennessee should never give them scholarships to. We do all that. Pat Summitt made the trip down. She's in the locker room celebrating with us. I mean, it was nuts. And so to win a close game like that, all the things that just came together, that was a moment, man. That was pretty special.
To be part of that turnaround. Yeah. And I mean, there were a couple of years where Tennessee wasn't quite as good, and the first two Rick Barnes years weren't as good. But overall, the last 20 years of Tennessee basketball, there have been a lot more good moments than bad moments.
Yeah, no, there have been. And so I think where our roster in particular, I was just so blessed and fortunate to be part of the timing and that transition, because fans, and I knew it at the time, but you really grow an appreciation years later. There were better teams than the teams I was on, and teams that ended up going further to an Elite Eight. But they just never forget those first teams that helped rebuild something. I mean, Rick Barnes certainly on his way, and hopefully he busts through and gets a Final Four. Nobody's going to forget the Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, the Kyle Alexanders, all those things. And so that's been a cool niche for us to have back then. And just and knowing, and at the time when I was getting recruited to Tennessee, it was like, you don't want to go there. You understand it's football, women's basketball, spring football, and then maybe men's basketball that they'll pay attention.
Right. What in baseball?
Yeah. I mean, back then it was like, no, you don't go to the SEC for basketball. That's such second fiddle to football. And it just never made sense to me. It's like, no, there's a fan base here that's just rampant. And if you can produce a winner, now it might be, hey, you need to build it and then they'll come. But the rest is history. And it's shown now. And obviously the SEC has just taken off 14 teams in the NCAA tournament last year, a record. So it's been fun to watch.
All right. I want to talk about your broadcasting in a second, but you're in Chattanooga. Tell people what you're doing. What you do on a daily basis outside of 4 kids, which you chase.
Hey, this is great. I feel like I need to put up an ad right
there.
Here.
You go. You
go to River Gorge Ranch, everybody. If you're second home or mountain home or primary home, that's right. Yeah. Well, again, I'll talk back to Tennessee. This place has just given me every single thing I could possibly have in life. I've had the opportunity to play basketball here, get an education. I worked for John Thornton, who donated the money for the Thornton Center. I got to know him. And he got to see something in me as an overachiever on the basketball court and say, you know what, that guy's probably not going to the pros, but I bet he'll work pretty hard. And so that really is what got me in the door with him. I got to meet my wife here, and anything that I wanted to accomplish here, I was able to accomplish or was given the opportunity to. Didn't make it to the NBA, but it wasn't due to lack of opportunity I had here. And so it was just, this place has been such a blessing for me. I've been with John since I spent 1 year overseas playing in Holland. I tell people my dream was to play for the Chicago Bulls. I used to, some of y'all heard this, but I used to, as a kid, I'd shut the garage door. I'd pretend to be the Chicago Bulls announcer. Starting for your Chicago Bulls, Dane Bradshaw. And I'd come out.
Right, I'd lift Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, and I'd lift the garage door, and that'd be my grand entrance. I'd run out into my driveway, high-five people that weren't there. So that was my dream, right? And then fast forward to reality. After my senior year in Tennessee, I go to Holland to play for a team called the Seals, where they say, starting for your Den Helder Seals, Dane Bradshaw, and the crowd's going, doing a Seals bark. So you had your dream, and then you had reality. So after that brief stint.
I mean, that's very close,
right?
though.
Yeah,
very
that's
close.
right. Yeah. So after that brief stint, then I came back and I talked with John Thornton about a venture he had, and long story short, I've been working with him for 18 years now, and I got nobody to thank but University of Tennessee for it.
Vols help Vols.
That's right, man.
That's 100% true. But you got into broadcasting, too.
Yep.
Tell me how that happened.
So I was a communications major. Electronic media is what they were calling it.
Is that what you got your master's into?
I got that in sport management.
Okay.
So, and so getting the different opportunities, and obviously the media and the opportunities we had, just being in front of a camera and doing, whether you're going to doing news interviews or whatever it might be. But there were a number of things. And so afterwards, it was with John Wilkerson, Jimmy Hines on the Sports Animal. Got to do some things with John Pennington on the Sports Source, just opportunities to fill in, get some hits here and there. And that was fun.
Those are good teachers, right?
They are, yeah. And then every once in a while, when Burt Burrowcamp was unable to make a road trip, I'd fill in and get some things there. And Bob Kessling was just so incredibly helpful on that. And he said, hey, man, you want to get a tape here. You got a chance to do something. Here's some things you need to correct. And he was terrific at telling me that. But there's a guy named Mike Moore, who's a UT grad, that works at ESPN. He's up in the Charlotte office. Send him your tape. I'll get you an introduction. And so for the next, 5 or 6 years, we would talk once a year, and I'd send him updated tape. Hey, Dane, looks good. We hadn't thrown it in the trash can. You're on the list, just not many opportunities. Well, 2014 SEC Network comes along, and that opened up a lot of opportunities. Fly up there, do an audition, nervous as heck. And, ESPN doesn't give you like some sort of boot camp. You don't go to training. They call and say, hey, you got the gig. Come up here for SEC Media Day. You'll be live in the studio October 15th. And, you've played in front of, millions of people on ESPN. but having that red light and that camera zoom in on you, you felt like you're about to throw up. And so I've had just great people along the way that have helped. I'd be remiss if I didn't say Dr. Jerry Punch, who's in Knoxville. He would review my film for me and give me a incredible breakdown of, hey, here's what you need to not do. Because young people, when you're first in it, or even if you're longer in it, you don't know what you don't know. And you need somebody to, beside your parents, saying, you were great last night.
Right.
All right, well, who can tell me what I wasn't great at?
So how many games a year do you do now on ESPN or SEC Network?
Usually between 35 and 40.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's quite a bit. And mostly I've done some studio stuff. I'm now pretty much all games. Love going to the games. Love going to shoot-arounds. The game I'm in town for, Tennessee, Rice. I mean, that's one you say, all right, that's not a big game on Tennessee's schedule. Catching up with Rice coach Rob Lanier and hearing his stories, coaching for Rick Barnes, I mean, that was awesome. So everywhere you go, I just try to be a sponge, and there's some great teams to cover.
All right, so you know Tennessee inside and out. You live in Tennessee, so you understand what the narrative is around here about Tennessee basketball. But take that hat off and be the national announcer that you are. Explain to us why Rick Barnes is working so well at Tennessee.
Yeah. Wow. Where do I start on that? It's funny because I talked to his former assistant, Rob Lanier. He said Rick Barnes has had different staffs over the years, and the ship just keeps moving. But he hires the right people around him. He delegates. He trusts them to do their job, but yet he's still in command and his attention to detail. He's an absolute workaholic, and his ability to coach kids hard and still love them and understand that, yeah, times are different. And you'll hear people say this all the time. I remember Frank Martin in South Carolina. He goes, look, everybody's talking about kids have changed these days. He goes, man, kids hadn't changed. Parents have changed. The kids don't know anything about anything.
Right.
And I think there's an old school approach with Rick Barnes where he will get on you, and it might feel like you're having the worst practice, worst day of your life. And then right when it's over, he knows how to cut it off and just be like, hey, man, come here. And joke around with you, lift your spirits. And so his ability to retain players, of course, the word culture gets thrown around all the time, but you either have it or you don't. It's real apparent if you don't. And he's been able to build it with the right guys. And when you think back to how he built this with some 2- and 3-star guys, and you're scratching your head. Hey, is this a retirement gig for Rick Barnes? Does he pass?
Well, that was a lot of people.
I see he doesn't really go out on the road recruiting that much. Oh gosh, okay, he signed some kid from Charlotte named Grant Williams. Okay, we beat out Charlotte for him. What am I supposed to get excited about? And holy smokes, I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal, and I think he'll have a statue somewhere on this campus one day, and rightfully so.
So many of the coaches of his era got out, and they said, NIL, transfer portal, I'm out. Why do you think he's embraced it and been so good at it?
I think there's some things he certainly, I'm sure, hasn't liked about it and had to make his own adjustments internally. But I think he realizes I can still have a huge impact on kids' lives. Just because a kid a few years ago was making zero come to Tennessee, and that same type of player might be making 7 figures or whatever it is, it's all across the college landscape. But I can still be a mentor to them. I can still help them get to their dream. I can still help them reach their ceiling as a player, because that's why the kids fell in love with the game. Now the money's come into play and it's factored into some of their decisions. But these kids right now, I don't think there's many kids right now dribbling a ball in their driveway, pretending to be Nate Ament, Jacoby Gillespie, thinking, I got to get that NIL money.
Right.
No, they want to put on the orange and white. They want to play for a Rick Barnes type. And I think he's been that mentor for them. I think, look, he loves basketball. He's not a guy that wants to, and all credit to anybody else that enjoys the broadcasting side. We certainly both do. He's not trying to go do halftime shows anywhere. No, he's not trying to go to the beach. He loves ball. He loves being at a gym. And I think Tennessee's just been the absolute perfect fit for him.
The whole thing with the NIL and the money, how it seems to me about the program, and you could tell me if I'm missing something, it's addressed.
Mm-hmm.
They know there's money there.
Yeah.
And so they don't act like there isn't money there. And they understand guys, as part of their name, image, and likeness, go make appearances at times. That's part of it. Yeah. They get it. it feels like the whole thing is handled very honestly. And because it's not, any sort of problem at all.
When NIL, first came out, and look, this was back a few years ago. Nigel Pack was kind of the first kid. He was transferred from Kansas State to Miami for $200,000, and everybody's like, "I can't believe it! This is out of control." Oh, when's it going to stop? Well, it hasn't. But my first thought on it was, hey, there is some madness to it, and I might not agree with everything. Especially, don't get me on my transfer portal soapbox. Maybe we'll get there. But the cream's going to rise to the top. The cultures, the programs that have the best leadership, that know how to handle it, are going to handle it.
Right.
Not just the programs with the most money and most resources. Do you have the right leader in place? Because guess what? You get a bad leader in place and you give them more money and resources, how do you think that's going to work?
Right.
That's just going to be a group of entitled players and people fighting with each other, this and that. You better have that strong leadership at the top, because Tennessee has that. And you better be a good coach. It can't just be, let's buy the best players.
Right.
I mean, even when it's not bought, you see USA Olympic teams. Man, we got every superstar in the world at times. And there's some years where it's just not clicking.
Right.
And so you got to have that player evaluation. You still got to have the right guys connected. And you're right. It's part of the business now, and getting the right players that are there for the right reasons and can be happy for their teammates.
Is Florida far and away the team to beat in the SEC this year?
I can't say far and away. I do think they're at the top. Now, their guard play hasn't been as good as they thought it would be right now. They're missing shots. They got a kid transfer from Princeton, Xavier Lee, that he's missing a lot of shots right now. But
he's taking a lot.
But when he shoots it looks like it's going in every time. So I got to think they're going to get hot. Where I think they have really awakened a lot of teams out there is the game now. Everybody talks about 5 out. You got to have a 5-man that can shoot the three, all that stuff. Yeah, but you got to have some bruisers down low. I mean, they won the national championship last year because they could absolutely punk people down low, get offensive rebounds, clear out space for guards. And you see where a year ago for Tennessee, that was a big weakness. Felix Okpara did his absolute best. But when J.P. Estrella got hurt, there was no Tobe Awaka to come in and be the enforcer. And yes, Zakai Ziegler's gone. But the biggest change from last year's team is the front court depth. And I think to match a team like Florida and being able to hold your own down low is kind of the gold standard right now.
What it seemed to me when I watched Houston and Florida play, it's like, yeah, they can shoot the three, but they also score 2-pointers.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to go take a 10-footer or a putback or whatever. It's not all around the ring. And when Tennessee got in trouble with Houston, the issue was that the Vols, they weren't hitting the threes. They couldn't get a rebound or get the 2-point basket.
And I think one thing interesting, too, is these 5 men, when they're on the perimeter some, or even at the elbow, you'll see teams just kind of enter it right there on the elbow. Tennessee used to do it with Grant Williams all the time. I was talking to a colleague, Terrence Oglesby, who calls some games for ESPN and also for the Charlotte Hornets. And he was talking about, in the NBA, they talk about, we've got to sign 5 men that are processors, is what they refer to. Like, if you catch on the perimeter, but you can't make that quick swing pass, or you're hesitating and it's getting picked off, you got to be able to maybe not always shoot the three, but can you throw the backdoor pass? And you see them all the time. They call it this zoom action, where you just dribble at the guy. But if I'm the big and I'm dribbling at you, the point guard, I want to get you open, that's a tough play to defend. If I can just take 2 competent dribbles, be a huge body, you run your man into me, and now you come off that curl, those are the things that you got to have your bigs doing away from the basket now, as opposed to years ago, 4 or 5 men, you don't go outside of that paint, you get your butt on the block. Now they got to be kind of like point centers for your team.
Good to see you. Look forward to seeing you through the season. That is VFL Dane Bradshaw with us here on the Mike Keith Show, presented by Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes of Tennessee. We're back with more of the show right after this.
Fans, make your tailgate party legendary with game day food from Texas Roadhouse, where you'll find hand-cut steaks, fall-off-the-bone ribs, ice-cold beer, and all the fresh-baked bread and peanuts you can eat. Almost everything on the menu at Texas Roadhouse is made from scratch, and a full-time butcher cuts every steak by hand. Make sure to check out their $5 beverage menu available all day, every day. Download the Texas Roadhouse mobile app or visit TexasRoadhouse.com to place your order or join the wait list. Go Vols!
Rackley Roofing is now the official roofer of the Vols, and Rackley is more than a roofing company. They're part of the communities where they work and live, investing in neighborhoods and opening doors to a career in an industry that's growing year after year. Rackley Roofing's mission is clear: transform the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Because Rackley believes the ladder to a great roof is only as good as the people who climb it. Rackley Roofing, building roofs, building futures.
Any coach will tell you speed is a huge advantage on the field. It's also a huge advantage online. That's why there's KUB Fiber, the world's fastest internet, right here in Tennessee. Speeds up to 10 gigs per second, a price that won't go up, and a connection so reliable it has 98% customer satisfaction. So whether you're watching the game, streaming the highlights, or railing about a bad call on a message board, you need Vol Nation's fastest, most reliable internet. KUB Fiber.
At the University of Tennessee, the Vols are known for competing at the highest level on the field, the court, and the diamond. And just like the Vols, Food City excels at everything too. They've got in-store butchers carving up certified Angus beef, fresh local produce, a full-service bakery, Fuel Bucks rewards, and one of the best beer and wine selections in town. Food City, the official supermarket of the Vols, and your home for everything Tennessee.
Top guests, direct to the Vols coaches, preparing you for the weekend. We are the Vol Network.
A loved one owns a gun, and for a while now, you've been concerned about their behavior. They're just not acting like themselves. They've been distant, they've been unpredictable, they've been lashing out. They've been saying things that make you worried they might harm themselves or friends or family. Or you're worried this loved one might hurt you. Maybe they recently threatened someone with their gun. You know something needs to be done, and you wish more than anything you could hit pause on this situation. Well, here in Illinois, you can, with a firearm restraining order. In extreme cases, this order temporarily prevents a person in crisis from having a firearm, giving them time to heal before they do something dangerous or even deadly. If you are worried about a loved one in crisis who has access to a firearm, learn more about firearm restraining orders at illinois.gov/pause-to-heal. A public service announcement brought to you by the Illinois Department of Public Health, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Did you grow up in an alcoholic or dysfunctional home? Were you abused or suffered childhood trauma at the hands of a parent or caregiver? Have you tried self-help or counseling without success? ACA can help. ACA is a 12-step recovery program for adults whose lives are affected as a result of being raised in an alcoholic or dysfunctional family. To find out how others like you have found healing from traumatic childhoods, go to adultchildren.org. That's adultchildren.org.
What if you were wearing something sexy? What if you were drinking? What if you made the first move? No matter what, sexual assault is never your fault. Support is available 24/7 through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Call 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAINN.org.
Mike's back with your pregame scouting report, delivered by Uber Eats.
Diamante throws ball tipped up in the air and intercepted. Coming the other way with it. To the 30, to the 20, to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone. William Wright. Touchdown! Big Orange. The Nashvilleian William Wright. Sixth-year player. Sees the ball up in the air, comes through the receiver, never breaks stride, and takes it to the house.
We welcome you back to the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. This segment of the program is brought to you by KUB Fiber. We call it You Make the Call. Andy and Sarah are here as it's time for You to Make the Call, presented by KUB Fiber, the world's fastest internet and Vol Nation's favorite way to connect. There's a fourth member of our crew for this segment, and your name is, sir?
Justin Clemmer.
Justin, where is home?
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
And where'd you go to high school?
Oakland High School.
Oakland. You're
yes,
a Patriot.
Sir. Ozone.
Yes, you're a Patriot. And let's talk a little bit about what year are you in school?
So I actually graduated in May. Right now I'm a post-production intern downstairs with the broadcast group.
Great. You enjoying that?
I love it.
A lot of friends?
Oh, yeah. It's great down there. You know them down there.
They have a good time, those
Stacia,
people.
Allison Carter, all of them. Yeah.
Yes.
Great leadership, and we have a great time.
Nice. You got everybody mentioned there. Andy,
Yeah.
what would you say in terms of him sucking up to bosses? How did he do right there?
11 out of 10. But Justin does a good job. He stays the same the whole way, stays level. So
yeah,
he does that every day.
Well, so Sarah, why don't you say something nice then?
I'm so excited to work with you today. Basketball game tonight, men's basketball. So we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, 3 of us will be on that show tonight. I'll be able to direct that game. Andy will be play-by-play.
Yeah.
And Sarah on the sideline. It's going to be great.
Mike will be there too.
Yep. You guys just
Oh,
hug.
yeah.
That's great. All right. Well, Justin, the play is going to go up. You have to put the headset on for KUB Fiber. It's hooked up to nothing. It's merely a prop.
Okay.
All right. So he's ready to go. Let's roll the play.
New Mexico State looking to get something going here on offense. Looking to the flat. Ball goes in the air. William Wright intercepts it. 30, 20, 10 in the end zone. Touchdown. Volunteers. Vols take a commanding lead here in Neyland Stadium. Another defensive touchdown here for the Volunteers. New Mexico looking in the flat. Tyree West tips the ball up. Head on the swivel there from William Wright. And a smoky gray convoy into the end zone, Mike. Well, that was great.
All I can say is you got head on a swivel in. So you are immediately, anytime anybody says head on a swivel, that's well done.
Thank you. You have a fun job, you know?
I have a very fun job.
It's great.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, a lot of my influence growing up was listening to you on the radio. So it's,
No kidding.
It's cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
We talked about Brian Orakpo earlier.
Brian
The
Orakpo.
sack call is just a classic.
But he went to the wrong UT.
Which one did he go to?
Texas.
Oh, okay.
But he is a great guy.
Yes, he is.
That is You Make the Call, presented by KUB Fiber, the world's fastest internet and Vol Nation's favorite way to connect. Sarah Detweiler, your grade for Justin.
I give him an A++.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a high grade. Smoky Gray Convoy was great. Did you not know the New Mexico State quarterback's name, Justin?
I think it was DeMonte, but in my mind, I wasn't completely sure. I didn't want to mess it up.
Andy, you're being too hard.
Oh.
Just for that, he'll get in your ear during the basketball telecast and start yelling at you.
Yeah, you got I got one play. You get a whole game tomorrow.
Fair enough. No,
I like it. He keeps score.
Hey, come over to the booth. You got it.
Here's something cool for everybody in the room in case you didn't know it. I want to share this because I get a lot of questions from people saying, I would like to do something in sports and like to do something that relates to sports analytics. Did you know that on this campus, the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies now offers a sports analytics certificate? As of this fall, you take 12 hours, and no matter what job you're going into in sports, you can say, I have studied sports analytics, which would help you in any field. As a matter of fact, I had a couple guys that I had a chance to talk with from the Board of Visitors from the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies, which is a new big deal. Barry Mathis, Britton Garrett, to talk about this. Give you a little insight on this. Let's listen to them. The first thing I have to know, Barry.
Yeah.
What is the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies at the University of Tennessee? What I think most people watching right now don't know.
It is a revolutionary way to continue education for young adults and other learners. We like to call them learners instead of students because we reach out to all walks of life and different stages of their careers. Some people wake up, and say, I'm going to be a doctor. There's a track for that. I want to be a lawyer. Know exactly where you're going. Some people say, I want to do something better. I'm just not sure what it is. The College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies is one of those tracks that can help those people as well as support the others in their space if they want to do something with cybersecurity or AI within their own disciplines. About 1,600 students were impacted last year in 2025 at this university.
No kidding.
Absolutely.
So it's growing and growing.
Like wildfire.
What got you involved, Britton?
The reality of what's happening in the world that I work in. So as a healthcare startup, we need talent. And that talent needs to have a multidisciplinary experience. And artificial intelligence is a big part of what we do. So KEX, to me, represented a startup college, right? I'm out building a company, raising funds, really impacting the way that that organization is going to run. I saw the same thing happening at Kex. For me, the wildfire was I got to be a part of it. Yeah. On the board, they have a spot for a venture capital backed startup to actually have a board seat. That speaks to the fact that they want to have that impact of understanding how startups work and incorporate that into the college, into its formal, studying, as well as getting those kids ready to come in, work in smaller companies like mine. So it just was an exciting place that felt like we were going to be able to do something new and exciting.
Barry, how do we get from cybersecurity and AI to sports analytics? How is that in this particular college, and where does it fit?
One of the things that is at the core of the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies, we call it the ING. It's the emerging. Today it's AI. Today it's sports analytics. Tomorrow we don't know, right? So it has a program that allows us to change with our society. I think it was one of the research firms out of San Francisco said about $4.7 billion in the industry right now around sports analytics. That is a career path worth going for. So within the Kex, is what we call it, Kex, there are 15 stackable certificates. One of those, and our newest one, is sports analytics for that very reason. What we're trying to do, to use a sports analogy, is skate to where the puck's going, right? That's what we're about, is being able to flex to that. The ING is always changing.
So let's just say, Britton, I'm majoring in something related to business. This is a certificate that you can get, and maybe I want to put it on top of my accounting degree or my marketing degree or somewhere else in the university. I can go get this now by taking 12 hours in this program, right?
That's exactly right. And then you can walk out with a very unique skill set that those employers that you're going to seek to talk to can see that not only do you understand your core discipline, you also have this specialized view of how the world is working, and you can leverage that sports analytics to hopefully quickly get that better position that you're looking for.
Barry Mathis and Britton Garrett from the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies. We're going to post my whole interview with those guys at the Tennessee Athletics YouTube site so you can learn more. So if you're interested in that, and a lot of kids are, and you can get it, but you can get that degree right now.
That'd be great.
It's not a degree. You get the certificate. They think it will eventually be a degree.
Man, what opportunity.
There you go. Well done. Hey,
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, Mike.
All right, you made the borough proud.
Yes, we did. 615 represent.
There you go. 615. We're down. Mike Heath Show, delivered by Uber Eats.
Catch up on today's show anytime.
Presented by Uber Eats.
UTSports.com. Search Mike Keith. We are the Vol Network.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
The weekend's coming. Time to get ready for Big Orange action. The voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, is here with your weekend scouting report, delivered by Uber Eats.
Welcome back to the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. This segment of the program is brought to you by Pilot, official travel partner of the Vols. This is a fine VFL, Gene Wojciechowski. So good to have you with us. Thank you. 1979 graduate. You know him for more than that, though. You know about nearly 2 decades with some of the finest newspapers in the country, 27 years with ESPN, including a massive stint on College Game Day, where many of his stories were some of the best that you'll see anywhere. And now he is a professor of practice back at the University of Tennessee in the College of Journalism and Media. Professor, it's wonderful to have you with us.
I need the practice.
You need the practice?
Absolutely need the practice of professoring.
I got to know that you're not from Tennessee.
No.
How did you get to the University of Tennessee in the 1970s?
Well, Mike Keith, like many people, and you have a show named after you, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
I've never had a show named after me.
You are doing a good podcast, Others Receiving Votes.
But it's not named after me.
No, but it's a better name. Others Receiving Votes is by the way, you should subscribe to that podcast. It's fantastic. Who's on the podcast?
Pat Forty.
Heard of him.
SportsIllustrated.com, and Brian Fisher, who's also a writer with SI.com.
Oh,
I'm way out of my league.
Others Receiving Votes. Download the podcast. Go ahead. How did you get to the University of Tennessee?
Well, like many people who are making a life-changing decision, you look at all the important factors. And of course, number one for me at the time was, where was my girlfriend going to go to college? So I wasn't concerned about majors or facilities or the quality of the journalism school or any of that. It was just, where's Betty Boyd going to college? So she decided to go to Tennessee. I decided to follow her here, and it turned out to be the most happy accident of my life. It was really a complete fluke, but I loved every facet of it, and I still do. So, Betty, you will not be listening to this, of course, but if you are, thank you.
How did you get into the journalism part of it while you were on campus?
Well, I knew I wanted to study journalism. I either wanted to be a lawyer or study journalism, or be a lawyer and specialize in communications law. There really wasn't anything else I was even remotely qualified to do. My dad was a career Air Force, and he retired as a lieutenant colonel, and I dreamed of going to the Air Force Academy. Unfortunately, Mike, they have this tiny little prerequisite about being able to do math. Yeah. So that was a bit of an issue.
And communication school didn't require math?
No, they did not, thank gosh. So anyway, Air Force Academy out the window, and journalism in. And like, you know, I'm in my 60s, and at that time, you know, the country was embroiled with Watergate.
Right.
And so politics and the reporting of politics just fascinated me. So on my little course block on this thing that we call Canvas, that the faculty and the students work off, there's a little photo of Woodward and Bernstein, and they are sort of my patron saints of journalism.
Did you think news over sports at any point?
Oh, yeah. I was never, sports was, again, another fluke that Betty Boyd had nothing to do with. But I came here, and at the time, the Daily Beacon needed writers, but they didn't need any news writers. So they said, you can go be a sports writer. And they introduced me to the sports editor, who was this long-haired guy named Paul Feinbaum.
Wow.
Yeah. And so Paul, who was very dismissive of me, and probably rightfully so, put me on the staff. But at the time, Paul was sort of a junior version, a younger version of what we see now. Combative, adversarial, confrontational, all in a good way. I'd never seen anybody like that, especially at a student newspaper, be that way. But sports was not something that I wanted to do. And I later transitioned to managing editor and then editor of the Beacon. And when I got out of school, my first job was to cover circuit court in Mississippi for the Commercial Appeal in Memphis. So it just was nothing that I was even on my radar.
Where did you have your moment in newspaper? Or is there a story, a moment that you had in newspaper where you made your mark that propelled you on forward?
Well, my life, and maybe yours also, I think all of our lives are a series of happy accidents and a confluence of intersections where you have to make a decision about something or take a leap of faith on yourself. I know you've done that throughout your career. Coming back here definitely was, I'm sure, one of those intersection points for you. I took a job with the Commercial Appeal. 2 weeks before I was supposed to start, I got a call from my hometown newspaper, which was called the Fort Lauderdale News. It was an afternoon paper, doesn't even exist anymore. There was a morning paper in Fort Lauderdale that had people like Mitch Albom, was the sports columnist at the time. Would I be interested in covering City Hall for one of the larger suburban towns outside Fort Lauderdale? Again, I was interested in politics and doing that. And it was in my hometown. I said, see you later, Mississippi. I'm coming back to Fort Lauderdale. I showed up for work my first day, and they said, look, there is a writer on the sports staff who has always wanted to cover politics.
Oh, no.
Would you be interested in just waiting 1 week? We're going to let him cover City Hall for a week. Then he'll go back to doing sports, and then you'll start on City Hall. And so that week I said, well, yeah, okay, I guess. And I showed up for work. I started doing sports. And a week passed, and then another week passed, and then a month passed, and all of a sudden it's 3 months, and I'm a sports person now, sort of against my will. I worked in a bureau in West Broward County. It was in a little strip mall, and there was one other writer there, basically right out of school. And we worked in the strip mall, and we did stories on like 6-year-old soccer players or Pop Warner kids, it was the bottom of the bottom. I mean, we'd take photos of these kids, and their moms would drag them in, and we'd have to do little stories on them. And the other writer was a guy named Bill Plaschke.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Another great sports writer.
Another great sports writer. He's been a longtime sports columnist at the Los Angeles Times and appeared on Around the Horn for 1,000 years. And so that's where we got our start. And I did that for almost 3 years and said, I can't do this anymore. I just can't keep on writing pieces about 6-year-olds. And I decided I was going to go to law school. And I was going to either go here or to Marquette. My dad's family is from Wisconsin and in the Milwaukee area. And so that's what I was going to do. By some freak of nature, I won an Associated Press Sports Editors Writing Award for a piece that I'd done, not on a 6-year-old, but on a triathlon in Fort Lauderdale. Nobody cares. But anyway, I won this award, and all of a sudden I started getting offers from larger newspapers. And so one of those papers was the Denver Post, and they wanted me to be the co-beat reporter for the Denver Broncos. And as it turned out, their first round, well, actually not their first round draft pick, but the trade they made after the draft that year was for a guy named John Elway.
Heard of him.
So I covered John Elway's rookie year, which was bizarre on 1,000 different levels. And then from Denver, ended up in Dallas Morning News, and then the LA Times, and eventually the Tribune and Chicago Tribune, and then ESPN was kind enough to offer me a job in 1998.
Was that for ESPN, the magazine?
It was.
I loved it.
It was a great magazine, and it won National Magazine of the Year award, which is a really prestigious award. Now, for your listeners, viewers, it was a different era, obviously. Newspapers were king, magazines were, people read things and not just on their phone. So, I'm of that generation. And, but yes, I was part of the very first staff of ESPN the magazine. It was a glorious time, and it was based in New York, and it was wonderful. We had every possible thing at our disposal, and I got to do some incredible stories. I played in Michael Jordan's basketball camp and actually played against Michael Jordan in a pickup game, which was humiliating but memorable.
Was it?
Well, yes. Do you want to hear this story?
Sure. It played basketball against Michael Jordan.
Well, so it was they called it senior flight school,
okay,
which is a nice way of saying old guys playing basketball. So it was like 30 years and up would play in this league or in this fantasy camp of Jordan's. And, Barkley was there, and Jordan would get all the best coaches. And so you were drafted by these coaches after they watched you play. And my coach was Eddie Sutton and Bobby Cremins.
Wow.
So yeah, two really great coaches. But before the camp would start each day, there were pickup games. They started at 7:30 in the morning. And there were always these rumors Jordan's going to play in the pickup games. And so I got down there at like 7:28. I mean, I'm running down there. It was at a Vegas hotel. It was based in Vegas. I'm running down there. I have my socks on. I'm putting my shoes on. And I hear somebody go, "Are you playing?" I go, yeah, let me just put my shoes on. I'm playing. And so I put my shoes on. I'm not really looking at anything. And I hear somebody go, "You got this guy." And I looked up, and this guy is Jordan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so you would play, because there are a lot of people waiting to play, you just played a 7. And our team got like a 5-0 lead. And at that point, Jordan was just screwing around. And at one point, I went up for a shot, and he blocked it. I think he blocked it into the casino. And I looked down and go, well, I had to try. And he goes, "Oh, I know you did." And, I used my little baseline move that I'd used 1,000 times at the gym back in Wheaton, Illinois. And so now they're down 5-0. Jordan starts to get interested. And he scores 1 point in a row, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this guy on my team, who was kind of a jerk, goes, "Are you going to guard that guy or what?" I go, "What do you mean guard that guy? It's Michael flipping Jordan.
Right.
I mean guard that guy." And now it's 6-6 and 1st to 7 wins. And Jordan's up there at the top of the key, and he's dribbling, and I'm doing my best, Mike. I mean, I'm like down in the high school crouch, Catholic Youth League,
Nice.
Coaching. And he goes up, and of course, I can't block his shot, but I do my best. And as the ball is leaving his fingers, and as it's leaving, he just looks at me and goes, "Go get that." And, of course, it goes right through the net, and they win. And he just looks at me and goes, "I had to try that."
He used your line on
He did. I go, "I know you did." So anyway, got to play against him. And then our team was so bad, we lost every game. Cremins at one point went to Mass during the league game to pray for us.
Wow.
This is a true story. And Bill Frieder, who was the former Michigan coach, ran this camp. And he came up to us during the huddle. He said, "I'm getting you another player." And we're like, okay, nobody's going to help us. Except Jordan came into the huddle and said, "You 4 rebound, I'll take it from here." We were down 24-3. He scored the next 21 points. We tied the game. We go into overtime. He loses the tip. They score in sudden death, and we lose. So I can say I lost a pickup game with Michael Jordan on my team.
Is that a wilder story than the experiences you had on College Game Day?
Well, from a personal standpoint,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, my brother flew in that day to stay with me during the duration of the camp. And he said he walked in at the exact moment that Jordan and I were doing a fast break down the court and, no dribble drill. And, I tried out for my high school team. I sucked, but I knew how to do that drill.
Sure.
And he said it was like, a surreal experience. And it was, it was absolutely. So from a personal standpoint, I never had anything like that happen at game day. But what I did have at game day were these remarkable experiences. And I'm sure you've had these same experiences where people honor you with their trust. Mm-hmm. They let you tell their story, and they trust you to tell it in a respectful way, and a truthful way, and in a compassionate way. And a lot of the stories that I did, and Tom Rinaldi was part of that crew, and then Jan Letta later, we felt a responsibility to tell their stories, and they're often really emotional stories, to tell those stories in the most honest way that we could. And so that was a different kind of experience, but I still keep in touch with some of the families or even some of the people that I did those stories on, even today. And one quick story was the story title was called Chad Tough, and it was about a 5-year-old kid who had an inoperable form of brain cancer. And their family let us into their house when he was in hospice. And we were there literally the weekend that he died, our crew and myself. And that family was incredible with the time and the access that they gave us. And little Chad died, and I keep in touch with that family. And they started a foundation in Chad's name, and they have built it into this amazing research-oriented foundation and charity. And it's run by the mom named Tammy, the dad is Jason, and the last name is Carr. And you can see the Carr's oldest son play quarterback for Notre Dame.
Wow!
Every week, CJ. And so at the time, CJ was just a little kid, and his brother, who's also going to play college ball, was slightly younger, and then there was 5-year-old Chad. And so the Carrs have embraced that as a duty almost to keep Chad's sacrifice alive. And so they've been kind enough to ask me to MC their fundraiser a couple times. And so it's just amazing how life unfolds. And so I have a special spot for the Carr family, and I root for CJ personally. And so it's just, so that's when I say you do these stories and you still keep in touch with these people, that's why you keep in touch.
What a remarkable gift to the University School of Journalism and Media that you're able to share these experiences with students now. What's the best part of getting to teach classes at your alma mater and have this opportunity to talk? I mean, playing against Michael Jordan, being at the start of ESPN, the magazine, all of the College Game Day, all the way through, being that you were on the Daily Beacon staff with Paul Feinbaum. I mean, it's been an amazing journey.
Well, yes, it has. And look, I was not a trained broadcaster like you are. I went from newspapers to magazine to ESPN.com, and then somehow, just by accident, found my way into TV. And if I showed you my very first Sports Center hit at the Masters, you would be on the floor laughing. I mean, they should have put yellow police tape around it. It was so bad. And I'm not exaggerating. It was literally the worst.
Do you think it was worse than looking at the wrong camera for an entire segment of the Don DeVoe show? I mean, literally, instead of looking at this camera, I was looking at that camera. My point is, I think that's everybody's experience, no matter the age.
Mike, I had one little job that day to do news and notes. Okay. Scott Van Pelt was the anchor, and I froze in ways that you can't even. I was in dry ice. And at the last second in my ear, the producer said, "Hey, look, Scott's not going to have time to tee you up on each item, so you just go." I'm like, "What? Wait, what?" Yeah. And I said, what do you mean go? And they go like, go. Like, well, hold on. No, go. You're on the air now. Go. And I just froze. And I was supposed to do something about Tiger Woods, and I got the guy's name wrong that Tiger Woods had played a practice round with, and then I screwed up something else. And then by the third item, I was falling off the cliff. It was an out-of-body experience. And then at the very end, I had like this Forrest Gump moment where I said, Scott, that's all I've got to say about that. And there was a long pause on Scott's end. And I later found out after, we went to break, Scott's like, what the hell was that? And after I went into Mike McQuaid's office, who was a coordinating producer, and I said, if you don't ever want to put me on television again, I totally understand. So, you've been very kind to mention sort of the highlights, but there were a lot of lowlights, and I had very patient people with me. But to get back to your original question, it's an honor and to try to share these experiences with the students. You were kind enough to come to one of my classes and share your experiences with them. You've done a number of classes now, so I could ask you the same question, but I think we probably share the same feeling. It's this great symmetry, and it's this great experience to look and see the faces and think back. We were both sitting in those chairs.
Absolutely.
We were in that exact same classroom, except at the time mine had typewriters in it. Right? And now they have, Apple computers. But the idea of sharing knowledge and your experiences with students, that doesn't change.
But I'll tell you something else about him. You talk about connection. The first football game I ever covered for WUTK was 1986 against UTEP. And the guy who helped me out in the press box because I didn't know anything was Joe Wojciechowski.
My brother.
His brother.
Yeah.
How small a word. Vols help Vols. What can we say?
There you go.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Gene.
Well, thank you, Mike.
It's a pleasure to have him with us at the university. And, hey, if you're coming to school here, you got to take his class. It's not an easy A, though.
F pluses.
Gene Wojciechowski here at the University of Tennessee. We've got more coming up on the Mike Keith Show. He loves the name. Delivered by Uber Eats. It's next.
Mike Keith on the Vol Network.
Sponsored by UT Medical Center, the official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation. Fox Moving and Storage, serving Middle and East Tennessee with experienced, trained professional movers. By Food City, the official supermarket and tailgating headquarters of the Vols. Firehouse Subs, home of the hottest subs in Big Orange Country. And by First Horizon Bank, big bank muscle, small bank hustle.
Hey fans, it's Coach Heupel. In football and in life, some folks just show up. That's Tennessee. They don't call us volunteers for nothing. We're about standing together and doing the right thing on and off the field. That's exactly how Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee shows up. They're not just from here, they're for here. Built for Tennessee life. Get a free quote at FBITN.com.
This season, when the Vols go for it, you can too. It's called Fourth Downs for Firehouse Subs. If Tennessee converts on fourth down, you unlock an offer for a free medium sub with the purchase of any medium sub. It's good Sunday through Tuesday after the game in the Firehouse Subs app. So get fired up on fourth down and enjoy hot subs in Big Orange Country at participating Tennessee Firehouse Subs restaurants. See offer details in the app. Vol Nation, if you're looking for quality performance apparel, look no further than Turtleson. Founded by UT alumni out of Bristol, Tennessee, Turtleson designs clothes and accessories that fit your lifestyle. From the office to the country club or the Tennessee Volunteers tailgate, Turtleson has the apparel that looks as good as it feels. Ask for Turtleson wherever you buy your volunteer gear or visit Turtleson.com to learn more. Turtleson is a proud sponsor of the Vol Network. Go Vols!
Tennessee first earned the nickname the Volunteer State during the War of 1812, led by General Andrew Jackson. That nickname was further reinforced when Tennesseans took part in the Texas Revolution. When Tennessee's governor called for 2,600 volunteers in 1848, the state sent more than 30,000. Modelo, the mark of a fighter, salutes the spirit and history of the Volunteers. Grab yours and celebrate your own victories. Modelo, brewed for full-time Vol fans. Drink responsibly.
Mike Keith's back with more on this week's opponent. Insider access. This is your Vol Network.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Song again! Here's that song again! For the 100th time today, here's that song again. It's gonna be stuck in your head all day. Here's that song again. It will make you cray, cray.
You love your kids enough to watch that TV show a bajillion times. Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat for their age and size. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Are you the parent of a blind child? Blindness does not have to hold your child back. With support, education, and mentoring, your child can turn her dreams into reality. We know because we are parents who have made it happen. Visit us at nfb.org/parents to learn how we can help you and your family.
Prepping you for game day. Delivered by Uber Eats with Mike Keith.
7-0 Tennessee. Empty backfield. Slant right side through high. One-hand interception. Redmond to the 40. And Redmond is taken down at the 36. He stepped in front of the wide receiver, pulled it in with one hand, and then brought it into his body. Outstanding play by number 4 from Milton High School in Alpharetta, GA.
You will not have to worry about his hand size at the NFL Combine in any capacity. He one-armed that one and one-handed in stride for an interception.
And even more impressive, that ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, so he one-handed a wobbler.
The young freshman needed a big play like that on his resume, man. Good job by Ty Redmond. One-handed. God, with some balls.
Going to give it. No, he's going to keep it, Aguilar, to the 25, to the 20, to the 50, to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone. Joey Aguilar. Touchdown! Big Orange.
Big time play by Joey Aguilar right there. This is an aggressive New Mexico State defense right now. You just saw them jump off sides, and now you have a quarterback that understands these situations, has the ability to pull it as a half defender slant down on the running back taking the handoff right there. Smart play, big time get by the Vols offense. Touchdown.
Welcome back to the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. This segment of our program is brought to you by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. 9 area locations, including one in Neyland Stadium. And we're joined by head coach Josh Heupel, starting with good news. Arion Carter, Joshua Josephs back. Good to have some guys back.
Yeah, we got some guys back that got a chance to help us on Saturday night against a really good football team. And felt like, those guys, for the most part, probably could have played last week. But good to have them back in at 100% in this one.
Where do you miss Carter the most when he's not out there?
There's a lot of different ways, but he's got great command of what we're doing. And so the subtle checks within our scheme, he's done a great job with. And then obviously he's just a playmaker. His ability to go sideline to sideline and race things and play violent at the point of attack.
Edwin Spillman has filled in very well. Jaden Perlotti has really come on. You have some other linebackers who do good things for you. So I wonder this. When you have the full complement of these guys, How challenging as a staff is it to make sure that everybody gets enough snaps and is playing in the right situations?
Yeah, I think it does come down to a little bit of the situations, flow of the football game for our staff. You want to be strong in the fourth quarter too, and so some of that early rotation helps some of those guys get to the fourth quarter and be at their best.
Does it almost give the defensive staff a chance to sort of go in the lab and tinker with some packages a little bit to get multiple guys on the field?
Yeah, for sure. When you have the opportunities to sub and play situational football and get your personnel in some of the schemes that you want to operate in, it definitely gives you the luxury and the freedom to do some of that.
Miles Kitselman will not play this week against Florida. He has been on the field for so many snaps this year at tight end. How do you divide up the tight end snaps with him not being available this year?
Yeah, really excited about the growth of the guys that have been there, the way that they've played when they had the opportunity. Miles probably got a little bit more volume early in the year when Ethan went out, as some of our young guys were continuing to develop, but got great confidence in those guys, and we'll still be able to play in all of our personnel groupings.
Love second half of the season stories. Ethan Davis seems to be one of those at tight end. What does he give you that really, I know why people are excited about him, but what does he give you in that position that really says, hey, we can be okay even without Kitselman?
Yeah, we'll be great, and I love Kits, and we're going to miss him, but we'll be great with the guys that we got. Ethan's ability to play in the pass game, he's got great presence, great feel, stretching it vertically, contested catches. He's got the ability to do all those things. During the off season, point of growth for him was just his play in the core. Since he's come back, really love what he's doing in the run game and on the protection side of it too.
With Wendell Moy's status being up in the air for this week, this is a game that really pays off, that you played a lot of people early and that you have those moving parts. Still feel good about your offensive line as you wait to see whether he can go or not.
We've rotated up front, and, I say it all the time. It takes more than just 5 guys, but it's true at any position. And those guys are ready to go play and play well in this one.
Give me some of the head coach's thoughts overall on Sham Umarov and just what he is as a player and a person in this program in the offensive line.
Great competitor, developing into a really good leader. You get the same thing as far as his competitive juice, spirit, however you want to phrase it, every day in the building. Cares a lot about his teammates, cares a lot about this program, and cares about how he performs, and that's why he prepares in a great way.
Jalen McMurray has done an excellent job at the Star this year. He's played a lot of reps, looking for a backup there or trying to find depth at that spot. Again, the cross-training within the secondary comes in pretty handy now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Have multiple guys that have trained at that position all off-season, training camp, and early part of the year. So feel really good about the guys that we have there.
And the young defensive backs overall, the progress that they've been able to make, obviously you have to start with Ty Redmond. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Guy that got thrust into starting really quickly, has handled it well, has continued to grow every single week. Going to be a great player and a really confident player. So excited about him. Young guys that got a bunch of opportunity to play last week. Trey Poteet. We got multiple guys, Tim Merritt, that continue to come on that we really like.
Poteet has, almost 10 special teams tackles this year?
He's done a great job continuing to grow, understanding, fundamentals and technique that cross over to what you're doing on the defensive side of the football, and continues to grow in what we're doing defensively.
And looking long-term, he can be a corner, but maybe a star as well, possibly?
Yeah, he's got the ability to play corner, has all the traits, but has the physicality and the traits to transition and play multiple spots too.
Good stuff. Talk to me about Joey Aguilar and what the staff is preaching to him, where you're trying to help him to go against what is a very solid Florida defense.
Yeah, extremely athletic, physical up front, do multiple things in their secondary rotations, pressures. He's got to have great awareness, understand where he may be vulnerable in a protection, get the ball out quick, change the protection. He's got to have complete command on Saturday night against a really good Florida defense, and ultimately take care of the football. And while you're doing that, you got to go make plays too. So let's go compete and have fun.
All right. On paper, it looks like if you're Florida, you're saying, We're going to try to win this game like we tried to win the Texas game earlier this year and make it a line of scrimmage game on both sides of the ball. Is that kind of how you anticipate they'll come out and try to play this game?
Yeah, in this league, it's always a line of scrimmage game. You got to be able to run the football, but you got to be able to protect, and that plays into everything that you're doing offensively and what you have to defend defensively. So in this game, physicality, you better win it. It's a 4-quarter ball game, and you better take care of the football and win the turnover battle.
In talking to your players this week, it sounds as if they welcome that kind of game, which I would think you as a head coach have to be thrilled about.
Yeah, absolutely. This game matters to, I've had a bunch of former players here that have texted me this week. I know it matters to our fan base. It matters to the guys inside the locker room. This is a great opportunity to play a really good football team and a really good atmosphere, and go take another step as a football team.
Might as well go win it, right?
Let's
if you're
go.
going, you might as well win.
Let's go.
Good stuff. Thank you. Josh Heupel with us on the Mike Keith Show. And every week, his segments have been presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. 9 area locations, including a location within Neyland Stadium. We're back with more of the show right after this.
It's game day, Vol fans, and you don't want to miss a single play. Uber Eats brings your favorite food right to your door. Wings, pizza, burgers, whatever you're craving, it's just a tap away. Download the Uber Eats app and use code GOBIGORANGE to get $15 off all orders. Uber Eats, proud sponsor of the Vols. Let's eat.
A farm, a family, and a tradition of premium fresh sausage that's lasted almost a century. Using only the freshest ingredients and finest cuts of meat for flavor that is locked in instantly. Each bite of Swaggerty's Farm sausage transports you back to a warm, cozy southern kitchen, leaving you satisfied and ready to take on the day. Swaggerty's Farm, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. Now available at your local retailers.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit RJV Kubota locally in Knoxville or Nashville. RJV Kubota, a proud supporter of the Vols.
Vol fans, it's Coach Heupel. One thing that makes college football so exciting is the way one drive can change the course of the whole game. The team at Pilot knows all about the difference a drive can make. They're out here on the road day and night to keep you fueled up, filled up, and fired up, so you can make the most of every drive. That's why Pilot is the official travel stop of the Vols. From tailgates to away games, Pilot's got your back anytime you hit the highway. See you out here.
Vols coaches, insiders, and experts breaking down the weekend action. We are the Vol Network.
These are real stories of audiologists and the people they helped.
She was such an adorable 5-year-old.
I saw her at 73.
Baby was just a tiny 6-month-old.
Nobody else had concerns.
She wasn't participating and slept mostly.
Unaddressed hearing issues in babies can affect them for life.
Her mom listened to her gut and brought her in to see me.
They assumed the reason was her dementia.
So I fitted the little guy with a hearing aid.
Mom was right. Her daughter couldn't hear high frequencies.
I found instead it was a profound hearing loss.
And after helping her, educationally, she just took off.
He's 5 and doing so well.
Everyone has the right to communicate.
She's participating in life again.
Are you or someone you know having difficulties with hearing or balance? An ASHA-certified audiologist can help. Visit us at asha.org/public.
Older buildings may contain asbestos and lead. Pipe or other insulation, ceiling tiles, exterior siding, roof shingles, and sprayed-on soundproofing may contain asbestos. Disturbing materials containing lead-based paint may release lead dust into the air. If your home contains asbestos or lead-based paint and any of these materials have been damaged or will be disturbed during cleanup, talk to public health authorities. From the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving.
A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Across Big Orange Country, fall weekend begins here. Mike Keith, delivered by Uber Eats.
Welcome back to the Mike Keith Show, delivered by Uber Eats. This segment of the program delivered by First Horizon Bank, official bank of the Vols. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. This is Chuck Girolamo, who is the University of Tennessee baseball associate head coach. Welcome.
Thanks, man. Excited to be here.
Interesting journey to get here. People were thrilled that you chose to come be part of this program. You have been part of some special baseball programs throughout your playing career, obviously in the minors as well, and then being a college baseball coach. Why Tennessee? Why now?
Yeah, it was obviously 100% unplanned, right? And the timing has been a little crazy. But there's no question the opportunity here and what the program's been doing and the way that it was trending through Tony, who's a good friend of mine. And then, I've known Josh since he was a player. I coached him right out the chute, and just the energy around the program and just knowing who I'm going to work with every single day and where kind of he stands in all things baseball related and outside of. It's really an impossible situation to pass up. It was really hard to leave my guys in Gainesville.
Sure.
Really, really hard. But ultimately, I think this was just an opportunity that doesn't really come around very often. And, Lord put something in front of you. It ain't always in the time that you want it to happen, but it just made too much sense.
You're a young coach at TCU.
Yeah.
And you encountered Josh Elander. What do you remember about meeting him and what stuck out to you?
So it's actually crazy. When I went through the interview process with Schloss, I stopped playing to start coaching, right? And he ends up
made it to AAA.
I did, yeah. And we had a baby at that point in time, right? My son was, I think he was right at it about a year. And I had it set up that I was going to either report late or take a job coaching. I finished my degree that offseason. I grinded on it throughout kind of the last year or so playing. And then Schloss had given me a call and asked me if I'd interview for the job out there, which I ultimately did. And I had to sit down with Josh during my interview process because I played shortstop my whole career, but the first position that he had wanted me to coach was catchers. So didn't really know a ton about the position at the time other than my brother caught up to the big leagues. So Josh, I literally sat with in my interview process. He was truly the first position, first player that I coached in college right out the chute. And then that grew. I coached catchers for the first couple of weeks, and then I took over the infielders, then I ended up taking over the hitters. But Josh was literally, it sounds crazy, he's the first player that I coached in college baseball.
So essentially, in terms of philosophy, you as a coach and him as a player, you came up together.
For sure.
And so it's got to be a great fit back for you with Josh, because I'm sure you recognize and know all of the things the same way he does in how his philosophy on baseball grew.
Yeah. Obviously we separated for a good bit.
Sure.
Right? We were only together for a year. But yeah, we spent a lot of time in the cage, man. A whole lot through that year and trying to get him to where he needed to get to. And then from that point forward, right when he started coaching, we talked a lot. Kind of helped him through some things initially, like in recruiting and stuff like that when he was first getting started on that side, but we've pretty much been in contact weekly throughout our entire journey for both of us, even though we were at rival schools competing, trying to win titles at the same time. It never changed our relationship and how close we were through this thing. We talk baseball all the time, kind of bounces stuff off each other. When we were getting ready to play somebody in the league, we would hit each other up if we had already played them, to make sure we kind of had an idea of what the team that we were going to play against, what they tried to do and stuff like that, and how to attack them.
How has hitting changed?
I think foundationally it's still the same, but I think people are trying to put data on this thing a lot. And I think there's some really good things that you get from it. But the basis of hitting is you got to be on time to hit a heater. If you can't hit a heater in our league, you really can't play in the SEC. We can go guy by guy and be a little bit more individually specific, but that's like at the root of everything is you have to be able to hit a fastball to be able to play college baseball and really be able to play at any level past this. The launch angle stuff and stuff like that, it's really individually player to player. I think if you're a coach that says, this is my philosophy and we have to do that, and everybody has to fit into this box, I think you're a bad coach, right? I think you should be able to adjust based off the personnel that you have and be able to take whoever that player is and maximize who he is, because they're all different, especially when it comes to swinging a bat. And what they need to do to attack a pitcher is different for each of them. So I think any one way of doing this thing, I think you're doing it wrong. I think you have to be able to adjust based off of who you have and based off of what you're going to see for any given day.
The home run has obviously been a big part of what Tennessee's attack has been.
Sure.
You've coached a lot of guys into big home run years. What specifically translates to that you bring here?
I think our two programs between Tennessee and Florida have hit the most homers in college baseball over the last 5 or 6 years, right? So I think what we've done at Florida and what they've done here is pretty seamless. It's a big part of baseball, but I think just straight up chasing power, you lead yourself vulnerable to some things, especially when you go out to Omaha at the end of the year. If that wind blows in, you got to have other ways to score runs. So I think that's very important. But the home run's a big piece of it. Extra base hits as a whole, doubles and homers is a huge piece of baseball for sure, especially in college, in our game. I think it was in 24, it was like 4 out of the top 5 teams in homers in the country were playing in Omaha. And it doesn't always translate to that ballpark because of how big it is, but it definitely translates to winning games and getting you there.
Roster changes in college baseball every year. So if I said, hey, tell me about the 25 Vols, you could do that, but half of that team's not here anymore. So With you coming in as late as you did and experiencing what will be the 26 Vols, how familiar have you been able to get with this roster based on what you knew before and the returnees and with the newcomers?
Yeah, differently with all of them. I think like Reese Chapman, we've seen him play on the other side for a while. We've seen some of these arms the same. Recruited a bunch of these guys, whether when they were at high school or through the portal. So I think I do have a pretty good feel for the roster. The Fall World Series were my first 3 days here with the guys on the field. So I just kind of stood in the middle of the field, just kind of watched the way they go through everything, the way they communicate, the way they run the bases, the way they attack kind of pitchers in the box, and just get a feel for that. And honestly, I'm able to give a little bit of a different perspective just because we have felt like on the other side, there were certain ways that we could attack Tennessee. It didn't always work, right? But we felt like we could probably attack them with a running game or stuff like this in certain ways that I think could help, just the outside perspective and some of the things. We can kind of take two programs and put them together, and some of the things that we did really well at Florida, we can add to kind of what they've done because they've had a lot of success here. I don't want to come in here and change anything.
Sure.
I want to just add to kind of what we've done up to this point.
Well, let me follow that up, Chuck, because the whole thing with the fresh eyes perspective, especially to come in late October, early November, it feels like that you can enhance it through the scouting from the other side of what you've seen, but also maybe it gives new life to a guy because you could say, hey, this guy can do maybe a little bit more because you have a different perspective.
Yeah, I think it always helps to have a new set of eyes on guys, especially when you coach players for a bunch of years or you've seen them consistently over time. Sometimes you don't recognize the changes as fast when guys do change. And sometimes just having a different terminology that you use for any given thing that you're trying to get across, it might just take that for something to click with a player, but I think we've all used that in coaching, and whether if it was a scout that was in the stands that you really trust or something like that, to just say, hey, what do you have on this guy? What do you think we could do? And honestly, you don't always go with what they have to say, but you're always taking it in, kind of figuring out, okay, I think this will work for this guy, or maybe we should make an adjustment and try this. I think individually, I think it can help a lot in coaching.
Talk to me about what's important to make a good defensive team. What does Tennessee have to do from your perspective to become better defensive?
It just comes down to really making the routine play. and being consistent and making the routine play. I think the highlight reel plays are great. They're going to happen, but ultimately we need to know that when the ball's hit to any given place and it should be an out, it needs to be an out, and there's a lot of different factors that go into that. I think there's a lot of different things I think we can continue to enhance in what they've done before, but it's really a lot of it has to do with reps and putting the guys in position to have success. Ultimately in college baseball, it usually comes down to getting the bats on the field.
Right.
And how can we get all these bats in the lineup? Sometimes your best team defensively isn't on the field to start the game and you can adjust as you go. Very rarely do you start with the best defensive team on the field and say, okay, now we got to score runs. We're going to pull these guys off the bench. It doesn't really work that way. You want to get a lead and then make some adjustments as you go. So there are some guys that are going to have to play some different positions. It's always that way. It's really just getting them as consistent as they can be defensively. But to make a long answer short, we just need to do a better job making the routine play.
Josh also made it clear that, and Tony had made it clear before he left, that they needed to have some more guys on the 26 Vols who were willing to do what was best for the team positionally and otherwise, especially from a defensive standpoint. Tony felt, Josh has felt that those guys are there, that chemistry's there in a different way. Can you get any sense of that at all yet, the chemistry?
Just from talking to the guys, they seem to like the group and the guys that are around. They feel like the guys that they brought in, they're really good kids. I think that's a piece of it. It's really hard to get a feel for that in 3 days, especially when they're in a Fall World Series and they're talking trash to each other and they each side wants to win because they have stuff on the line. But just communicating with the guys, they all seem to feel that way.
We are glad you're here. Thanks for taking time with us.
Absolutely.
Chuck Girolamo, the new associate head baseball coach at the University of Tennessee, coming over from Florida. We've got more of the show coming up right after this.
Your weekend scouting report with Mike Keith.
Sponsored by First Horizon Bank. Big Bank Solutions, Small Bank Spirit, the official bank of the Vols. Pilot, official travel stop of the Vols. See you out here. Swaggerty's Farm Sausage, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. By the Tennessee Fund. Join the My All campaign today. IWillGiveMyAll.com. And by Food City, the official supermarket and tailgating headquarters of the Vols.
From the practice field to the fourth quarter, our attitude is always the same. Confidence and commitment can turn your dreams into reality. Where there's a dream, there's a way. And that's First Horizon's philosophy. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Over 160 years of banking based right here in the Volunteer State. It's no wonder First Horizon is the official bank of Tennessee Athletics.
Offense wins games, defense wins championships, and KUB Fiber wins the award for Best Internet in Big Orange Country. Speeds up to 10 gigs per second, a price that doesn't go up every month, no hidden fees, and 98% customer satisfaction. That means that out of 100 people, 98 were extremely happy, and 2 people were not. Must be Florida fans. KUB Fiber, Vol Nation's favorite internet. Get it at KUBFiber.com.
Fans, make your tailgate party legendary with game day food from Texas Roadhouse, where you'll find hand-cut steaks, fall-off-the-bone ribs, ice-cold beer, and all the fresh-baked bread and peanuts you can eat. Almost everything on the menu at Texas Roadhouse is made from scratch, and a full-time butcher cuts every steak by hand. Make sure to check out their $5 beverage menu available all day, every day. Download the Texas Roadhouse mobile app or visit TexasRoadhouse.com to place your order or join the wait list. Go Vols!
Whether you're tailgating outside Neyland or singing along to Rocky Top in the stands, nothing goes better with UT Game Day than Truly Hard Seltzer. With endless variety and delicious flavor, Truly has you covered from the first step of the Vol walk to the last play of the game. Grab a drink, put on your orange and white, and have yourself a day with Truly, proud sponsor of Tennessee football. Truly Hard Seltzer. Do it for the flavor. Please drink responsibly.
Your scouting report on the weekend's opponent. Be here every week. This is your Vol Network.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives with your gifts. Your heart could keep beating. Your kidneys could keep filtering. And your intestines could keep on digesting for others. And that's not all. you can improve the lives of 50 more people as an eye and tissue donor, restoring sight and health. And you're not just helping out the person receiving the transplant. You're touching whole families with your life-saving gift. Register in minutes. Just go to organdonor.gov. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Sign up today. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Pass it on. Here's a short quiz. Who won Best Actress last year? Who won the World Series 2 years ago? And finally, name your favorite teacher. Pass it on. Now I'm guessing that the last question was the easiest. Why is that? Because that person made a difference in your life. So go ahead and make a difference. Because making a difference is in you. Pass it on. From passiton.com.
My name is Piper. I'm 7. I'll be 8 in November. This summer I got diabetes, but no one knew I had it. My mom thought I had the flu. Then I went to the hospital. It was scary, but I'm okay now. I wish people knew more about diabetes.
Contact the American Diabetes Association at learningaboutdiabetes.org.
Before the game, the final scouting report with Mike Keith, delivered by Uber Eats.
This segment of the Mike Keith Show is brought to you by CertaPro Painters of East Tennessee, proud sponsor of the Vols. Time to get the Quinn for the win, highlighting a great moment or performance in Tennessee athletics this week, brought to you by Quinn Appliance, your home for the best selection of GE appliances. Visit their showroom in Alcoa or at quinnappliance.com. GE Appliances, built for America. Sarah Detweiler of the Everything Orange podcast, which features Braylon Staley tomorrow. Do you have a Quinn for the win for me?
Yes, I sure do. It's the Memphis Grizzlies signing Jemai Mashak to a two-way deal.
That's very good.
Yeah, super excited for him.
Yeah, he deserves it. Andy Brock, do you have a Quinn for the win?
I'll stay in basketball as well. I'm going Felix Okpara, his career high, 20 points Monday night against Rice, and he was pretty effective, 8 of 10 from the floor, 5 offensive rebounds, season high in minutes. And a lot of alley-oops in that game. We can throw that in there as well.
10 dunks.
That's awesome.
I mean, the more dunks, the better, right?
Absolutely, for all aspects.
My Quinn for the win, Lady Vol Volleyball.
Yeah.
Earning the double bye in the tournament this weekend in Savannah. They finished the 4 seed, so they get the double bye, and they will actually not play until Sunday in Savannah in the tournament. So maybe they have a good shot to win that. So congratulations.
Yeah. The tournament's back.
So exciting.
First year in a while.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
They've had a nice year.
Yeah.
And maybe more to come in the postseason from them.
True.
They can beat anybody in the conference. They have that ability, but being a top 4 seed, always huge in the SEC. All right, time for the heavy lift presented by Planet Fitness. The Planet Fitness Black Card, only $24.99 per month. We're all strong on this planet. Join today. See Home Club for details. The heavy lift presented by Planet Fitness. I mean, this is pretty easy. It's got to be beating Florida in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what this comes down to. Tennessee needs to go and beat the Gators in Gainesville. And I think however it goes, whether it's a 13-12 game or a 45-44 game, I don't think Tennessee fans care. They just want to beat these guys and just end this once and for all. So you don't have to listen to it. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
I don't disagree. It's been too long. I think there's I do believe that there is sometimes a mental block with certain places, and I think you can make a game bigger than it is. But it is kind of bigger than it is. It's Tennessee and Florida, but I think you're in a great position to get it done.
Sarah?
Yeah, if there's any year, it should be, and it could be this one. So, I mean, Braylon talked about it. They know all of the outside noise, but they're really locked into what they're doing in practice this week. So, and he's excited to go play in the Swamp for the first time, too.
I loved what Josh Heupel did with it. He addressed it. He said, hey, Tennessee hasn't won at Florida in 22 years, but he also said it's a new year. We're a new team. I think he bridged that gap very well by recognizing what people are going to be talking about but also keeping the team focused on what is at hand. The Mike Keith Show is delivered by Uber Eats. Always love to have your text questions for Saturday at 865-657-1278. Go ahead and get them in now.
Mike Keith talks Big Orange sports right here every week, getting you ready for game day.
Presented by Uber Eats.
Download the show at utsports.com. Mike Keith. We are the Vol Network.